This week on the Asian American Spotlight, I want to talk about something a little bit different. So instead of talking about a person or a project or an event or anything, I want to talk about representation as a whole. And it kind of stems off of this article I read recently that came out almost a year ago, but it's titled, "I Was an Asian White Supremacist," written by Angie Lee, which is probably her pen name. But it talks about her story and how she became a white supremacist growing up. I won't read the whole thing, but I'll post a link if you want to. It's fascinating. But it starts off with her talking about her favorite TV shows and how she wanted to look like the girls on Baywatch and how she wanted a boyfriend like Zach Morris on Saved by the Bell. And in high school, she ends up having a white boyfriend named Brandon. And they had absolutely nothing in common. And I'm going to read this excerpt to you. "I was attracted to Brandon because he was white, and in my mind his whiteness made him inherently better than my Asianness. Dating him would be an improvement. He was the one who was kind enough, empathetic enough to date a lowly Asian girl like me." The article goes on to her making all of these decisions and choices that push her life forward based off of her own self-hatred. She pushes her family away. She gets into this neo-Nazi group with Brandon. They end up having a baby together. He ends up breaking up with her because the baby ended up looking more like her than him, and that was the big wake-up call. And that's kind of what representation comes down to. It's we limit ourselves. We kind of put ourselves in these boxes that aren't made for us. When I was growing up, I wanted to be a white guy. But if I lived my life trying to be a white guy, I would be a very bad version of a white guy because I am not a white guy. I eventually decided that I wanted to be an actor, but if I decided I wanted to be a white actor, that wouldn't work out very well. Right? Nowadays, I have the confidence. I have the self-esteem to say, I want to be an Asian actor. Now, there is no Asian actor out there with the career that I want, but I have the confidence to try for it. I can be the first. I might not be the first. There might be someone else who gets there, and I will support them all the way, but I have the confidence to try for this thing that isn't out there. Growing up, I had all these stereotypes that just didn't belong with me. I could have been a doctor, a mathematician, a piano teacher. Those were what people thought I could have been. But if I tried to be those things, that's not me. When you're trying to live in a way that other people want you to live or they think that you should live, well, you're just being a very crappy version of yourself. There's one thing that every single person in the world is the best at. We all have the potential to be the best versions of ourselves. No one else can be a better version than you. You have the potential to be the best version of you. The best actor. Kevin Spacey couldn't be a better you than you if you allowed yourself to live you to your fullest potential. So if you're trying to be someone you're not, because you don't know anything else, that's where representation comes in. If you're not shown all of the possibilities that you could be, well, maybe you have like 3 examples and none of them fit. Well, it's a really terrible way to live. And so representation matters to me because of all those people growing up that are probably in the same position that I was as a kid. People trying to put them in boxes that they don't fit because those are the only ones that exist. And this goes beyond being Asian, any type of minority, any race, any ethnicity, any background. We're all so different. We're all individuals. And if we don't happen to stumble upon that very specific representation of the person that we ideally live up to, we're kind of stuck then. Because so many of us live with such low self-esteem, with such a low self-worth and value, and it's because we represent to ourselves such a poor version of ourselves. So it starts with us. We have to put the best version of ourselves forward. We have to show us the best version of ourselves that we can be. And that starts with consuming media that gives us those examples, that inspiration. But if you don't have that, It's to allow yourself to be authentic to yourself. Who who are you? What are you meant to do? What are you good at? What do you enjoy doing? Um, and if I didn't find a way to start living based off of the things that I loved, and I kept living in a way that, and I kept living in fear of all of these things that I really shouldn't be afraid to be, I don't know, my life would be very different. Anyways, I've lost my train of thought, but I hopefully somewhere in there I've talked about representation, and I mean it's such a complicated matter, but we all need representation, and if it's not out there, we have to do it for ourselves. That's it. I should probably get some sleep. It is very late, and I'm about to. I should pack and then get on this flight to Chicago. If you're in Chicago, I'll see you very soon. Take care.